The name is Kev Matara on a wild Wednesday, you get. I am so excited because, first of all, the conversations are going to be crazy and you know what to do. The only thing I want from you, by the way, is the traffic situation. So, unaweza nipigia simu 0719012600 and find me on that hashtag After Hours on Spice. Remember, I'm going to be live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. The handle is at SpiceFM KE. And here, so yesterday, tukitoka hapa hivi, I was so elated. I was looking forward to some awesome football. And sure thing, it turned out to be some, good Champions League games. So Bayern Munich played with Real Madrid, Jana. It was a good game. And the results are as such. So Bayern chapad Real Madrid 2-1. I didn't see this happening. But unakumbuka Jana, I said that game was going to be open. I didn't really, predict the results. And vile your game ilianza, honestly, I thought Real Madrid were edging it. You know what I mean? Yeah, their attacks, yeah? What? Crazy. This game is not even over yet. Remember, there's a second leg and they're going to be in Germany. Like in Germany, it's quite crazy. Mbappe was playing really well. Yeah, so Bayern chapad Real Madrid 2-1, like I said. And then another crazy game, Sporting versus Arsenal. Sporting started off on the front foot. They were dominating everything, the attacks, but the set pieces, Arsenal were looking really good. So yeah, Arsenal beat Sporting 1-0. And some interesting facts over here. Apparently, Vincent Kompany is the first Bayern Munich manager in 25 years to win a 90-minute match at the Bernabeu. Guys, this is huge. This is big, man. Kompany is actually really crazy. Like, this guy he's dope. Now you can see why Bayern actually got this guy from Burnley. And his swag is also really good. Like, he's such a fresh coach, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that front three for Bayern Munich: Kane, Diaz, and Olise. Broski. So Harry Kane so far has 49 goals and 5 assists. And then Diaz has 23 goals and 18 assists. Olise has literally 16 goals and 29 assists. Name for me any front three right now that's better than these guys. I'll wait. I thought so. Exactly. You can't think of any. You can't, man. Like, fam, let me tell you, yeah? Okay, now that Bayern have actually chapad Real Madrid, I can easily predict who's going to win the Champions League. Yeah, if I were you, I'll put my money on Bayern Munich. Yeah, it's safe. Trust me, like, these guys are not playing this time around. You know what I mean, yeah? Alafu, tonight, still more Champions League football. We're talking Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Alafu kesho, tonight as well, we'll have Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool. Cracker of a match. Liverpool are saying, you know what? They're still in this thing. You never know, by the Liverpool are Liverpool. They'll never walk alone. So it could go either way, right? So when we come back, guys, there's so much happening on Cruise the Internet. Remember, kwa this show, yeah, I'm allowing you to speculate. Remember, you can always call me. Talk to me. I want to read your reactions on that hashtag After Hours on Spice at Kev Matara at SpiceFM KE. When we come back, we'll talk all things the tensions in the Gulf. Yes, of course, I remember the Strait of Hormuz is at the center of it all. So we'll try and make sense of all these stories. Tony Kazi, right now, 16 minutes after 7. Mass Appeal, Gangster. Playing right to 94.4 Spice FM. My name is Kev. It's 23 minutes after 7. This is After Hours on Spice. It's across the country. If you're in Nairobi, remember, you can keep up with the vibes on 94.4. I love you headed to Kisumu. It's 102.5. Salt and Pepper are on the way with Start Me Up. Also, later on, Beat Bop. Romles. You guys, that's a good jam. It's been a minute, eh? So, right now, let's talk about this very pointless situation happening in the Middle East. Matter now, Donald Trump, apparently he was using F-bombs on his social media. You know what I mean? Yeah, now it's threatening how he's going to wipe out a whole civilization. What is wrong with this man? What is the point of this war, to be honest, man? So there's been tensions in the Gulf, like you guys already know anyway, and it's been around for a couple of weeks. Strikes left and center, courtesy of United States, Israel, and of course, Iran have to be on defense mode. You know what I mean? Yeah. So things are edgy. Yeah. And at the center of it all is the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. If you don't know it, it's a critical route for roughly a fifth of the world's oil. Yeah. Iran apparently Wally shut down your place in response to the conflict disrupting global supply and triggering immediate pressure on energy markets. And you guys can actually feel the impact right now. Things are through the roof. The price of fuel is what? Like 230 a liter? What? Now, There was even a deadline looming, courtesy of Donald Trump. Alikuwa anasema, guys, if you don't open up that route, yeah, imagine I'm going to wipe you guys out. Yeah, Iran will cease to exist. You get, yeah. So he threatened massive strikes on Iran. But the last minute, there was some sort of diplomatic push courtesy of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. And this is now... due to conversations, it's now led to a 2-week ceasefire. Apparently, Iran agreed to temporarily reopen the Strait, easing global fears. That's fine. Now, let's bring it back home. You know, yeah? Things are looking shaky. The impact of this war, by the way, has reached Kenya. Fuel supply disruptions and panic buying, and now, of course, it's affected the price of fuel. We're talking about, like I say, 230 shillings per liter. In fact, nikikuja hapa, yani, I couldn't find a petrol station, right? Things are crazy, manzani. It's just like, it's so expensive, but it's all good. I mean, yeah, so, listen, like I said, who's gonna stop this man, Donald Trump? Yeah? Why does the world entertain Netanyahu? Who has the balls to stop him? So this is basically now how modern conflict really works. Haikuangi kwa battlefield for too long, you know what I mean? Yeah? And now it starts affecting the world economy, right? It starts affecting oil routes, diplomacy, supply chains, nini. And then it starts also, you know, you start feeling the impact in your everyday life. Yeah? And by this ceasefire, it's just a pause. Because they say, after 2 weeks, you know, these bombings could actually resume. Yeah? And the economic aftershocks are here. And they're going to last longer, by the way. More than these headlines we're actually reading. So, guys, stay strapped, maze. Things are looking crazy. Yeah, the world needs some peace. Yeah, because, you know, one thing by there that I mentioned, I think, about 3 weeks ago, once this whole mess actually began, yeah? I feel like Netanyahu and somebody like Trump, you know, they are just not... They really don't care about the world. They don't care about the future of the world. These are old guys, man. They're not going to be here saying even 10, 20, 15 years, right? The world in itself is against this war. But somehow Trump, I don't know who he's saying. Like, what does this Israel country have? Yeah. Why are they so, why are they so bullish? Yeah, you would imagine Donald Trump is a guy who, you know, he's a guy who has a spine. Like, no one's going to tell him what to do. But Netanyahu is bullying him. Just, you know, it's almost as if America is Israel's puppet. Who's going to stop Netanyahu? It's getting crazy, man. What are we trying to achieve? The world wants peace. Everyone, even Americans, are against this whole war. Beats my understanding. 28 minutes after 7. Let's keep it moving, you know. Salt and pepper, stop me up. Tulikazi. It's 22 minutes to the top of the hour. My name is Kev, and this is After Hours on Spice. No Scrubs TLC coming through in a bit. I want to shout out to the one and only man like John Ray, and also the brother, who's this? There you go. Tough Gong Malima. Karibu sana, you guys. So let's keep it moving. And so let me ask you, honest question, yeah? No usidanganye. What do you think is the age where enyewe you know I'm old now? Yeah, you're not even a TCG, kinda old. You're officially an old man and you need to be treated as such. So we're on Cruise the Internet, by the way. There's an interesting article I checked on the Daily Wire, and they're talking about how the headline is the exact age Gen Z consider you old revealed. So are you past it? So there's a UK poll of 4,000 people just so these people just put a number on something we all feel but rarely define. When does old actually start? You get, and according to Gen Z, so folks who are between 18 to 29, the line is drawn at about 62 up before, you know, yeah. But me, I feel like 62 is kind of young. I mean, look around you, yeah? Yeah, guys like Brad Pitt in their 60s and looking all fresh. Anyway, yeah, so like I said, Michelle Obama, Brad Pitt, let's bring it back home. Even your own folks, yeah? Famous Kenyans, what's her name? Esther Pasaris, yeah? You know, out here, you know, talking about how, you know, she still got it. And many others. You get. So, according to Gen Z, they consider 62 and above to be over the hill. Like you're not really young. You know, young vibes, however much you think you have young vibes. So, This question was also put out there for folks across generations, not Gen Z. And so Gen Z basically want to sum up 62.3 years is old. Millennials are saying 62.9 years, so that's the same as Gen Z. Gen Xers, that's our folks now. Them they're saying, ukifika 64 years old, 64.4 years, you're old. Boomers, slightly older than the Gen Xers. They think 67 years is old. And then the silent generation, 71 years, according to them, is basically old. You get. All right, so my thing is this. My translation with regards to this whole maneno, I feel like people just it almost feels like when you get to your, this particular age, for example, when you clock 60, and you're kidogo functional, I mean, you're out there, you're still engaging, you're in a lot of activity, you tend to further the push. You tend to further your own definition of what old actually is. You understand, yeah? Now, Gen Z associate old with a couple of things. Now, their own definition of old, aside from age, yeah? Now, wanasema ukifika 59 years old, basically, you're going to start struggling with technology, and that means you're old. When you clock 56 years old, yeah, you can't pull off like modern fashion. You're not really with it. Yeah, you start dressing old man vibes, old woman vibes, yeah? According to Gen Z, they say when you clock 62, your cognitive decline begins. Yeah, you start forgetting things, and you're not really smart enough. You're not as creative, especially. And when it comes to perception, 20% of Gen Z don't think they're going to look good when they age, when they're older. Yeah, do you feel like that too, by the way? Do you sometimes think, hey, yeah, Mazemi, when I clock 60s, I'm definitely not going to look good, yeah? And you're probably going to be tempted to do the plastic surgery or whatever. And then 25% of Gen Zs also think, they doubt they'll have strong social circles. That's natural. Even me, Mazemi, I feel like, even right now, like most of my friends, I mean, we don't really hang out that much. So can you imagine what it's going to be like when you get to your 60s? Obviously, you're going to be solo mission, probably with your family, your sisters, your brothers. I'm mostly with your, your immediate, like your kids or your wife. Mostly with your wife. You get. I'm your colleagues, but mostly your wife. And then 27% of Gen Zs don't expect good health after 62. Obviously. Yeah, because of all the crazy things that you did now when you're younger. Yeah, that's why you need to invest in insurance, by the way. Yeah, and then many of Gen Z think life gets less fun with age. Yeah, I think that's actually true. You know what I mean, yeah? More research over here. Apparently, research tracking 3,802 people aged between 18 to 90-year-olds suggests that the brain fully matures at around your late 20s. I don't think so. I think it starts maturing vizuri. Fully matures, I think in your mid-30s, 35 over there. And then with regards to stability, yeah, most people think that you tend to get more intelligent, and your personality is more grounded in your mid-30s. I agree. Some people living in the 40s, but mostly it's like in the mid-30s. You get. And then at around 66, efficiency plateaus and structural changes begin. That's actually very true. Yeah, so, Skiza, it all boils down to relevance over here. I mean, I feel like most guys, yeah, they're not really scared of age per se. I think they're scared, especially young folks, they're scared of missing out on, trends. Just kukua relevant. Can you imagine how it is? Yeah, and your kids are going to be looking at you like, boring, like no one wants to, like even it's so scary when apparently your kids don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get the phone call, doesn't ring anymore, it doesn't check in rather. Yeah. So me, I'm not really scared about this whole 60s thing. I think it's natural. I'm actually excited about being 60 or whatever. Are you excited? Yeah. What do you think is the age where you start getting old? Yeah. Let me put it like that. Just an open-ended conversation. Yeah. And do you worry about being irrelevant? Yeah. In terms of society and also your family, Manze. You know what I mean? Like they're just going to start counting you out. Yeah. But one thing I actually like about Americans, especially African Americans, there's nothing like age. You get. I bet you when I get fam, your goal has to be when you get to your 60s, you must have that Steve Harvey energy. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get your money, so when you're in your 60s, you're 70, you're still rocking those suits, you're out here, the babes are still looking at you like, he's a handsome man. Yeah, also I like Cedric the Entertainer swag is also very good, and he's getting to his 60s. So it's 2:45, the top of the hour. I like this one. No Scrubs, TLC, Twinikazi. It's 8 minutes to 8. Kev, your local energy provider, is my name. To call, Joy Riding in the Sunshine. That's coming through in a bit. So right now, let's talk all things football on Cruise the Internet. Eritrea have, of course, done themselves proud. They qualified for AFCON after beating Eswatini. What is wrong with me? Eswatini. Yeah. This is, by the first time in AFCON in nearly 2 decades. Good stuff, man. Now, after the celebrations up in Kofield, 7 players didn't go home. Yeah, they reportedly disappeared. Waliepa, man. They disappeared after that trip through to South Africa, joining a long pattern of Eritrean athletes who use international tournaments as a way out. Yeah, so folks like one of the former goalkeepers, a guy called Kubrom Solomon, and the winger Medani Reddy. And this is not new, by the way. In 2019, players vanished in Uganda. Anyway, the situation must be bad. If you're gonna disappear in Uganda. 2015, squad members disappeared in Botswana. 2013, players seek asylum. They did seek asylum again in Uganda. And then in 2009, almost the entire team, disappeared in Kenya. Wakutu hapa within, in Hurlingham and and in Lavi. Anyway, it's all good. So yeah, history is literally repeating itself, and it's a reality check, I actually feel so sorry for these guys, because imagine, the situation back home is very, very crazy. An unstable country they're living in, yeah? So I think when players risk everything, we're talking their career, their country, their own identity, to not go back home, it ceases to be about football. Yeah. Imagine you stop celebrating national pride on the pitch. Then you've literally qualified for AFCON. Yeah? You're like, you know what? Screw this, man. I'm not going back home. I don't even care about this football thing. It just gets to show you how, some of these choices that people make, yeah, it's, you can't take it for granted. You can't even laugh at these guys. Yeah, you can imagine the situation is so bad. They look at other people. They look at Kenyans. They look at Ugandans, and they're like, I want to live like that. Yeah, and I empathize. You get. And you know what? Another uncomfortable truth that I think we need to put out there is that winning games doesn't fix these things. Yeah, Gava actually have to sort out their situation back home, man. Yeah, because Eritrea, they might have qualified on paper, lakini hapo kwa field, they're actually losing out on so much talent. So I don't know how they're going to play even at the African Cup of Nations next year here in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So that's pretty much some of the top stories happening on Cruise the Internet. In the next hour, I'm going to hook you up with some neo soul on blast, and then more Cruise the Internet stories. Right now, to call, Joy Riding in the Sunshine. Twinikazi, good evening. 20 minutes to 9, Logic, gang related. It's coming through in a bit. Right now, let's talk about Somalia. And I kid you not, our Somali brothers and sisters, they're gonna, man, life is good for these guys. It's going to be very good. Yeah, because this headline on Cruise the Internet is about how Somalia is set for historic first offshore oil drilling. Yeah, so Somalia, turns out they're about to start their first ever offshore oil drilling with Turkey's ship Kagri Bay. It's called Kagri Bay. It actually arrived, last week Friday in the Arabian Sea. Officials call it a historic milestone, marking the country's entry into deepwater energy exploration. This is big, man. This is huge for the economy, yeah? So researchers estimate billions of barrels of untapped oil, potentially boosting GDP and positioning Somalia as a regional energy player. Now, of course, this comes under a 2024 production sharing deal with Turkey, which has invested in Somalia for over a decade and also expanded its military presence. But oil is just one piece of the larger puzzle over here. Somalia's economy is growing so fast. They've got massive potential. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of some of the sectors that are thriving, making sense for the future for them. Agriculture and livestock, for example, contribute about 40% of GDP and 80% of export revenue. Somalia has over 17 million heads of livestock, mostly camels, goats, and cattle. They also have arable land. We're talking 4.5 million hectares. That's underutilized due to conflict. You get. And then the fishing and maritime resources. So it turns out Somalia has 3,333 kilometers of coastline on the Indian Ocean. Potential annual fisheries revenue, we're talking $300 to $500 million if sustainably exploited. When it comes to remittances, of course, there's a bunch of Somalis out there worldwide, right? Diaspora remittances account for about 20 to 25% of GDP. That's $1.4 to $2 billion annually. Yeah, remittances are critical. They're very critical. You guys already know, critical source of household income and investment. Infrastructure and ports, because I know some of you are like, Kev, what? You mean Somalia is popping like that? If we just go to your YouTube and check it. Yeah. They're actually stabilizing. We're talking strategic location along the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden shipping lanes. There's also major ports over there, Mogadishu, Berbera, and Kismayo. This is potential to become a regional logistics hub, especially for East Africa. Now, some of the growth drivers, a couple. Stabilizing political environment plus foreign investment. It's looking good for them. And then the energy sector, we're talking oil and gas, and also the fisheries expansion. That's going to be big. Of course, right now, due to the mining, the offshore oil drilling rather. And then infrastructure development. Huko hivyo sasa kuna ports, the roads are looking good. There's so much potential for further infrastructure development. And telecom, yeah, there's sort of a okay internet in Somalia. And then diaspora investment in businesses and real estate. A few challenges, of course. We're talking decades of conflict and political instability, limited access to finance and modern technology, and vulnerability to climate shocks. We're talking droughts, floods, as in climate change in Aturamba Sisi water, especially in East Africa. Now, who are the people who are going to drive this growth? It has to be Somalis, but there's also a bunch of foreigners in Somalia. Hey, there's a guy I hosted over here last year. He's got an amazing coffee brewing company in Kenya, and he was telling me the amount of Kenyans in Somalia. Tuko wengi sana. Yeah, it's a growing number, and they love coffee over there. Yeah, so let me just give you a rundown of some of the foreign workers in terms of country and numbers. So Uganda, there's about 2,000 foreign workers. Kenyans over there, we're talking close to 1,000 foreign workers. India wako huko hivyo, the Indies, but the numbers are not that much. South Africa have a presence. Guys from Ukraine, Zimbabwe, the UK, the Philippines, Pakistan, Russia. So basically, these folks and the figures, of course, they represent registered labor migrants, mostly filling roles in sectors like the international organizations, that's also NGOs, private companies, and specialized services, and not total employment. Yeah, so they're all over the country. The total number of foreign migrant workers in Somalia was around 78,000 in 2024, and this includes all international migrants, not only formal employment figures. Now, we know the benefits of having foreign workers in your country. Yeah, they bring a lot of skills, investment opportunities, networks, international networks, and this is very important for Somalia, especially when you look at it with regards to logistics, NGO, just to help the communities and stuff like that. But I feel like if you over-rely on foreigners, you tend to create capacity gaps. Yeah. What Somalia has to do, the country, is they need to start training their own. Of course, it's going down right now. They're investing a lot in education and the knowledge economy. But with all the potential that they have, if they're going to reap economic benefits, then they have to build on domestic expertise. For them to actually experience legit growth like Kenya. Yeah? The Somalis, Uko Ivo, and even the ones over here need to take those skills back home and grow their own workforce, domestic workforce, so that they can capitalize on their own resources. But I'm happy for them. But then, Juicy, I was just checking, a couple of, videos on the situation in Somalia. Yo, foreigners are investing over there. Serious, man. Yeah, these Italians, you folks from the UK, like they've got an amazing coastline, yeah? The potential is huge. Somalia could easily be like Dubai. You know what I mean, yeah? So, it's a moment in time for them. So much possibility. They've gone through so much, right? Decades of turmoil. There's a time, by the way, I think in the 80s, I need to brush up on my facts, when Somalia, they were very stable. Can't remember when exactly. I need to find out when. Yeah, they had a leader who was so pro-development. Can't remember his name. There's a guy who was telling me these stories. Yeah, but now they've gone through so much, man. Like, I feel so sorry for, the Somalis. Yeah. But this does not erase the country's potential. When I get, there's a sense of optimism in the country. Yeah, I've just told you guys about the offshore oil, livestock, fisheries, strategic ports, all these other things. Yeah. But at the same time, this wealth, these resources will not fix the governance issue. I'm at the inequality, because there's like a clan issue also going on, Nukuivo. Yeah, there's serious inequality, by the way. Yeah, so, man, like, the only thing I can do for them is just pray for them and wish them success. You get. All right, so that was on Cruise the Internet. If you're just joining me right now, we're talking Somalia is set for historic first offshore oil drilling. Jeez, that's going to be big, man. When we come back, why so many people feel like their jobs lack meaning? And the question I have for you, enyewe ukiangalia the economy, the job economy, let me put it like that. Yeah, do you think it's pointless these days? Do you think work is becoming pointless? Yeah, do you think work as we know it is dying? Yeah, of course there's a lot of opportunities out there, but is work becoming pointless? Yeah? Would you rather just work for yourself at this point? Do something meaningful? Yeah, we'll get into that. Logic, gang related. 19 minutes after 9, it's called The Real Thing, and I hope you're loving the vibes, man. This is After Hours with Kev, your local energy provider. Hashtag is always going to be After Hours on Spice. Sade with Smooth Operator, also Donald Jones, This Love. Lakini right now, it's all things the gray zone, and it is said the average person has 3 to 5 genuine opportunities, to change their financial life. Most just don't recognize them. So success isn't as far away as it feels. It often is right in front of you. Opportunities don't always show up as obvious wins, They come disguised as conversations, ideas, connections, chances most people overlook, So studies in entrepreneurship and career mobility suggest many people encounter multiple financially life-changing opportunities, but miss them because they're distracted, risk-averse, or not actively looking. You're not intentional. So it's not just about working hard or harder. You got to be aware. You need to have a sense of awareness. The people who move forward aren't always that smart. They're not always the smartest. They're the ones who recognize patterns. They stay open and act when others hesitate. So sometimes the difference is not really access, it's attention. I'm going to add one more over there. You pray for grace. Prayer actually works, man. Trust me. Pray for God, to help you be more attentive to all these opportunities around you. You get. Let's keep it moving. 20 minutes after 9. All right, so right now it's 5 minutes to 9. So we're on Cruise the Internet. The reason I'm laughing is because of this story that I'm about to give you. It's not a tier story per se. It's just an observation, a survey that was done worldwide and also in Kenya, by the way. So there's this thing called the bullshit jobs theory. I'll explain to you what it entails. But this headline on Cruise the Internet, they're saying, why so many people feel their jobs lack meaning? So the question is work pointless? Yeah? But have you realized ever since COVID happened, things have just been, nothing has ever stayed the same. Yeah, people are questioning things, remodel things. The job economy is also changing, man. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, it's like a thing to work from home. I mean, the world is looking at things. I feel like systems are redefining themselves. And so they say globally, according to a 2025 study, it shows that many people are questioning whether their jobs actually benefit society. So Najuliza, man, like even these things I'm doing, yeah? Am I adding any value? Like, yeah? Is there anyone out there who is benefiting from me doing this thing? Yeah, I'm just a cog in a machine. So they say it's a trend echoing David Graeber's bullshit jobs theory. Now, this thing for bullshit jobs theory, it's a theory. Let me just, all right, there you go. Bullshit Jobs, it's a theory. Bullshit Jobs, a theory. It's a 2018 book by the American anthropologist David Graeber that postulates the existence of meaningless jobs which cause psychological harm. You get? Yeah, so he contends that over half of societal work is pointless and becomes psychologically distractive because workers are required to pretend their role is not as pointless or harmful as they know it to be. Oh, my Lord. Self-explanatory, that is. So now, some facts over here that you need to know. Apparently, about 19% of workers in a US survey said their jobs rarely or never feel socially useful. And then jobs in finance, sales, and management are most likely to be seen as pointless. Private sector roles are more affected than public or non-profit ones. And then perceived meaninglessness links directly to lower job satisfaction and well-being. In the Kenyan context, the issue is even more pronounced, apparently. Turns out that 81% of Kenyan workers report dissatisfaction or disengagement, according to Gallup. Yeah, it's a research firm. Turns out only 16% feel they're thriving in their current roles. Yeah? And then sectors like nursing, education, and entry-level corporate positions show high stress, low growth, and poor pay. You're just thinking, damn, like there's no potential for growth. You know, you think, fam, you've been a nurse for like 30 years, man. You get you in the same position, same office, as in just the same. The only thing that's happening is you're aging. You're just shrinking. Yeah, maybe obviously now you're taking care of your family here and there. Okay, if you perceive that to be growth, from your perspective, it's fine. So it is said that many Kenyans question whether their work justifies the effort, especially when it doesn't align with personal goals or life needs. Do you think this is true, by the way? What's your experience here? What's your experience in your workplace? Your job in your nafanga say. Yeah. Do you feel like it adds any value to your life? Do you feel like you're growing? Like when you look back, yeah? Do you think you're actually growing? Do you think you're creating impact in community? You're being more resourceful to this country. You're perceiving growth to be the money that you're making. I mean, it's cool. You know, yeah, maybe you used to live in poverty. Now you're in the big city. You live in an awesome environment. You've got a family. That could be growth. But for other people, growth is way more than just family and a salary. For them, they want to feel like they're resourceful to the country. You get? They want to feel like, you know what? When all is said and done, I can leave a legacy. Like people are going to look back and say, hey, Nyek, nilikuwa najua chale anaitwa Kev Matara. This guy used to work at a media house at Standard Group, and it's because of him, you know, that I'm actually better in creating content. It's because of that chick, you know, she started this NGO type organization, whatever, yeah, and she's really helped us look at certain environmental issues, and it's because of her that, you know where I'm going. So there's two ways of looking at this thing. In fact, many ways. So I think work in itself is not pointless. Shidani, these days, employment as it is, especially in our country, doesn't feel meaningful. You know what I mean, yeah? It just doesn't feel, and that's why by then nilikuwa nacheki yani a report how they're talking how most younger folks, the Gen Zs and even some millennials, they're quitting on good jobs, man. Like a guy used to work in a bank, unasikia stories. How many times have you checked it that a guy was a doctor, now he's a DJ, like these stories are common these days. You get, so meaning, key, that's the key word over here, meaning. Work is not pointless. The problem is, okay, fine. Does it give you a sense of meaning? Does it add value in the grand scheme of things? People crave jobs out here that, gives them a sense of purpose and also pays them. It has monetary value. So when one of these is missing, dissatisfaction checks in. You get? Because it's one thing to work your purpose, it's fine. But if it doesn't pay you, you're like, oh man, I can't keep up, and then you don't have dignity. You start, let me not explain too much. You start being needy. Yeah, but I think the ultimate situation by the way is just like, until you're working your purpose, you got a job that gives you a sense of purpose. Alafu tena inakulipa. What? Okay, it's over, man. So folks have talent, of course. A culture is growing in the country. But, it's the guys are not making money off this culture, right? Off of talent, off of purpose. So I feel like there's a disconnect over there. That's the main problem. And then to top it off, now there's mental health. In fact, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll give you some numbers. This is Kwanzaa, the biggest health concern in the world right now. Yeah? It's crazy, man. It's so complex a situation, yeah? And then wasted potential. You know what they say about the cemetery, yeah? It's the richest place on earth because there's so much potential that's been buried over there. You get? So it's one thing for Gava to say, tunaenda kuwapatia makazi nini. You see, the problem is, I feel like Kenya has a bit of, like, Kenya is the land of opportunity. Yeah? If you're talking about kazi ziko, yeah, in one way or the other, whatever. Yeah, the problem is people don't feel like they're satisfied. People don't feel like there's purpose in this work that they do. And now, mtu anafanya a job for like a year, and then they quit the job, and then, they follow their purpose, it doesn't pay them, and then they get depressed, and then now, wasted potential. The guy grows older and older. They're shrinking. Time is wasted. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Yeah. All I know is that this era, everything is redefining itself. The systems are not the same, bro. The internet has just changed everything. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Like if you just navigate your way, because the beauty about this era is there's so much information, right? You just need a network, a bunch of people who are going to hold your hand, right? Believers, that's what we call them, yeah? You need believers, yeah? You need patience, and then you can make it. Yeah, so this is about, on Cruise the Internet, we're talking why so many people feel like their jobs lack meaning. And so the question is work pointless? Sawa. So, right now, let's keep it moving. This time I'm going to play you some awesome music. We're coming back with The Grey Zone. This one right here is John B's Someone to Love featuring Babyface.